1, 2, whoa! Oh, hey! Just doing some renovations. Sorry for the mess. You're a bit early. I mean, what brings you to... Oh, Payday 3. The closed beta, right, of course. It was pretty fun. Now we're on game 3, it's made a smaller jump than we had from Payday the Heist to Payday 2. Honestly, iterating on the last game is definitely the right call. My one concern is that Payday 2 has years of development behind it, endless weapons, skills, and 87 heists, of which at least like 5 are good. It's a big act to follow, and I can't help but wonder how Payday 3 will manage with replacing it. I mean, of course some people keep playing Payday 2, some people are still playing the first game. So, can Payday 3 set itself apart? Let's start with what's changed. Payday is difficult again. Hard and very hard used to mean walk in the park, and slightly uphill walk in the park, but now they have accurate names. This actually seems like an attempt at a soft reboot of Payday 2, as if that game were launching all over again. Heists are back to their hybrid style, where you can play them in either stealth or loud, and the current skill layout doesn't have you specialising in either one. It's perfectly normal to attempt stealth until things go wrong, and then just commit to the rest. Actually, the bank in the beta could be completed without even putting a mask on. It's crazy times we live in. Power creep has also been reverted, thank goodness. In general, Payday 2's bloat has been shed quite gracefully. Special units have been whittled down to the basics. Snipers, shields, dozers, cloakers, and tasers. Oh, sorry, zappers. What a ridiculous name. There's a new grenade-chucking enemy, but the excess fat of Captain Winter's medic SWAT turrets, that's all gone. Though I do hear that last one will be getting a revamped return. They've trimmed the fat all over. Continental coins are gone, as is offshore money, random weapon mod unlocks, and perk decks. I'm gonna sully my own name here and say it, I never really liked perk decks. The bonuses were good, too good in fact, and the slapdash manner that they were lumped on top of the existing skill system warped the game's balance completely. Actually, let's talk about those new skills. They're delivered pretty much exactly how I hoped. It's a halfway house between skills and perk decks. Each role is its own unique mechanic. Some of these mechanics are adapted from old perk decks or significant skills that we had before. It's easier now to just glance along the list and pick and choose mechanics. The trees are much shorter, but all the skills now directly play into that mechanic, and these upgrades can be mixed and matched in any order.
Well, I'm sorry, officer, but I think you'll find that this policeman is worth 3 people.
Your choice, Batman! Do you want the 3 civilians, or Commissioner Gordon? So now, making builds plays out like this. You pick your mechanics, and then you decide how much you want to upgrade them. It's a much more intuitive system than the old ace this tier 1 skill to improve Wolf's moves on the dance floor. Tier 2 gives you a 15% faster reload. Tier 3 gives Wolf the new dance shoes he's always wanted. I also love how they've changed skill activation. Most of the time in Payday 2, skills would be passive, or activated in a manner very directly linked to how you would use the skill. As a result, they had tons of uptime. There was really only one parameter to balance the game's difficulty: the power of skills. In Payday 3, most skills require maintaining either grit, edge, or rush, which can be triggered via a variety of means. Ergo, you have to adapt your playstyle not only to use your power, but also to trigger it. This has also provided Starbreeze with a second balancing parameter: how often the skills trigger. Back in the day when new DLC were rolling off the lines, the only way to incentivize a purchase was to ratchet up their power just a little bit more. Here's hoping this new change brings an end to power creep. Wonder how long it will take for that sentence to age poorly. Despite the big changes, there's a distinct feeling to the game that is very Payday.
Your ass is mine!
You know, for a second I thought he was going to say your ass is grass. That includes the return of good old Payday jank. Oh, old friend, I missed you. Aye, it's a beta, yada yada, the game could release in immaculate condition and I'd still expect jank to rear its head by month 3. Before I go on a jank tangent, Tanjank? Yeah, nah, it doesn't work. Let's get back to the heart of the issue. Can Payday 3 truly replace Payday 2? Or rather, how many players will it end up poaching from the old guard? In my opinion, it comes down to one factor: flow. Keep in mind, Payday the Heist wasn't made totally irrelevant by its sequel, and it still has a player base. Why? Well, in the heist, you typically hold a choke point against an enemy wave, and then in downtime collect ammo, trade hostages, and scurry back to defense for another round. In 2, you push through enemies around an objective, doing rotations as you mow them down. You're so powerful and the enemy so populous that full offense is generally the answer, short of death sentence difficulty. The flow is fundamentally different between the two. So, where does Payday 3 lie? First major change is that there's a lot fewer police officers this time, but they're more dangerous. They tend to group up together and they even hide behind friendly shields.
Get him in a kill box!
Shit, that's a new line. If the heist was Choke Point City and Payday 2 a Musso game, then Payday 3 is somewhere in between. You move between discrete, smaller fights, and those fights, oh boy, they are so much better. Enemy AI has seen an improvement. It's not stellar, but then it never was. I'm just glad it works properly this time. Dozers charge in at the worst times. Cloakers try and sneak up on you. Is that the new cloaker? It works more like a hunter now. Don't you f***ing dare. Each fight ends up being a question. How do I tackle this group? Sprinting is now infinite, and the run and reload skill can still be found in a not-so-meta location, but running and gunning is gone. You can't shoot while sprinting. What does this mean? Well, movement between fights is fast like Payday 2, but the fights themselves are slower, like the heist. It's a stop-start motion that actually feels quite good. No more hiding in corners, no more mowing down enemies. The flow of the heist itself is also quite different, at least for the beta's bank. The first half is more defensive, as you break into the vault. In this time you collect hostages which have seen an expanded role. They can now be used to delay the first enemy wave, or they can be traded for health as you gradually deplete your supplies. The whole time you're really preparing for the second half, where you commit to a big offensive push, Heat Street style. This is when you start burning through health and ammo. If you stop, enemies quickly surround you, which leads to you burning through supplies even faster. This is where the major difference comes in. Payday 3 is not about survival, it's about fighting for resources. Cable ties are infinite, so hostages become an essential resource. You once again go into custody after going down too often, but respawning is simply on a timer. Hostages simply reduce it. I love this change, since it gives a similar reward for maintaining hostages without punishing you too severely for losing them all. So yeah, respawns are free, and reviving is much faster, so you can in theory fight forever. Except, well, armor and health don't regenerate, and there really aren't any skills to bring this on. Deployables don't give full recovery either, and resetting the down counter is a dedicated skill now. The concept is essentially to keep going until you're running on empty, which gets far harder in the offensive push. With meager meters and depleted deployables, it takes just a single mistake to wipe the team. I can potentially see players intentionally dying, since you come back with more armor than if you revive, but aside from that, I dig this change of pace. It feels different. So, to answer the question, will Payday 3 successfully replace Payday 2? No. For a while, yes, of course, it plays great, the new changes are exciting, and it gives the series a do-over it sorely needed half a decade ago, but frustratingly, the game is online only. Eventually, it'll shut down. Remember that Starbreeze nearly went under not that long ago. Think what would have happened to Payday 2 were it online only. Well, that can happen with 3. Eventually, it will happen. Could be from Payday 4, security issues, or the collapse of the business. Whatever it is, Payday 3 will be gone, and Payday 2 will still be here. It'll win out in the end. God, Payday the Heist will win out in the end. Unless something changes. Payday 2 runs on peer-to-peer servers, with Steam facilitating the matchmaking. Epic Online Services facilitating it. As a result of its history on Steam, I was able to cover what the original game played like, something that would be impossible with Payday 3. The game we're gonna get? Well, we'll never have it quite the same again, and eventually we'll never have any of it. Starbreeze. Please do not let this be the game's fate. The cynic in me would put my feet up and say, well, that's how it is, but I know for a fact that things can change, because they changed so many times before when it came to Payday 2. Mostly because of silly mistakes like loot boxes. You can make a difference. Otherwise, well, enjoy Payday 3 while it lasts.